find yourself in the right community, mix with people that actually study, be in the right environment, get people that you want to, accountability partners, people you can bounce idea back and forth from. Speak to them. You will just see that the motivation comes, and it is a gradual process. The moment you start 30 minutes, you start going to 1 hour, you go into 2 hours. It just gets better. It gets better and better over time. The motivation to study can be hard sometimes. It can be daunting, and sometimes it comes and sometimes it goes. It's not even there at all. If this is you, then this episode is for you. I have been there, and I know that on several occasions I've shared that studying becomes a go-to area for me when I'm not happy. But the question is, how did I get there? And that's why lots of people have questioned, have actually asked me to share my thoughts, especially for those that know me, that have known me for a long time and felt, oh, Bola, how come? I used to be some. Actually, if anyone says to those people who have known me from when I was young, to say Bola, her hobby is studying or her go-to area is studying, they'll be like, no, that's not true. I remember, I think I have shared sometime when my mom smacked me, I just at the end of my secondary school days. She smacked me really hard, just trying to ask me to study. So I wasn't actually a person that is always motivated to study, because it doesn't really sink. Sometimes you're studying and nothing is just going in, and you're just staring there, or you're maybe the moment you grab the book, you start dozing off. In those days, we used to put our legs in the water just to study, to keep ourselves awake, so that eventually we probably end up memorizing and not get anything into our head. Anyway, if this is you, today I will be sharing some tricks and some tips on how I have actually got into the stage where I can study for so many hours and I enjoy it. And well, if this is the first time you don't know me, I am Bola Adeyeye Omishade, and this is the Bola Adeyeye Omishade Show. Thanks for joining us. This is a community where we support people to be the best version of ourselves. So you are in the right community if you want to be the best version of yourself. So thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, do not forget to give it a thumbs up at the end. And also, if you want to keep learning from us, do not forget to subscribe as well. With that, you get notification when any episode is published or any of our episode is aired. And also to my returning viewers, thank you so much. Thanks for your consistent support. It means a lot. Thanks for joining me. Right, so how to motivate yourself to study? Firstly, I would like to say to you that the motivation to study comes, like I said earlier, and it goes. You wouldn't be motivated all the time, and you need to understand this. I've seen people that actually blame themselves, they bite themselves too much because they are not motivated, and you see what they end up doing is they spend so much time complaining instead of going ahead to ask yourself, or going to identify what is making them not motivated. So the first thing I would say is, when you're not motivated, you need to take a step back and you do the following. You always want to ask yourself, why do you need to study? For me, the motivation to study started from me wanting to be the best. For those that know me, when I was in my final years, and I'm a very competitive person, and I wanted to make my brother, my family, I wanted to make everyone proud. So that actually drove me. I always remember that I always put it in at the back of my mind that I wanted to make my brother proud. And I wanted to have a first class, so I I that was the drive that I have had. Even though sometimes I was there sitting down studying and nothing was sinking. Trust me, I I I would cry, and I'm going to come back to letting your emotions out, because that actually helps as well. It helps you to keep your motivation at that peak, or at that place where it's supposed to be for you to keep going. So firstly, you need to ask yourself, why are you studying? Are you studying to become a better person? Are you studying to get good grades? In addition to wanting to make my family, my brothers and sisters proud and all that. At some point, I went to my brother's office. At the time, he worked in a very big bank, and he was one of the top people in the place. And then there I went to his office. Oh my God, you need to see the number of computers I saw. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I am going to get here. Whatever it takes for me to get here, I would get here. In addition to that, another one, I went to visit my sister. She was the company lawyer at the time, and she was going for another interview. I think she was applying for another job, or and at the time she was using a GCSE mathematics practice to practice. And I thought, somebody who is a top manager, and you're coming as low as using a GCSE maths to prepare for an interview. And I was really, and I was thinking, oh God, if these people can do this, I can do it, and I can do better. So what is that thing? What is that reason why you want to study? Are you studying to become a better person? Or are you studying to make somebody proud? Are you studying to make more money? Yes, because some people, you want to make more money in future. You want to get to that place where income is not a problem for you, or you want to have the skills to set up a business. What is that thing that motivates you? Right. Some tricks that I identified, because I made a lot of mistakes. And one of the mistake I made was because I didn't have a first class. Just to come back to that, I really wanted to have a first class, but I did not. But I actually identified that. I identified the problem and reasons why I didn't have a first class. And one of them was, I was this kind of person that when I'm studying, I really want everything that I learned. I want to keep it to myself. And those days when you're having exams and you're covering your book and you don't want anybody to see what you're learning, or what you're writing or what you're reading. I used to be that kind of person. So I always stayed in the hostel studying on my own. And when I'm outside, I pretended like, oh, yeah, sometimes I did. I actually said I studied, but it was more of, oh yes, I'm studying, but trust me, that's not the way. You know, you need to mix. You need to actually mix with other people that you study. Maybe, for example, if you're studying for a degree, you need to mix with your peers. You need to mix up with your colleagues. And now you need to choose those people wisely. Okay, so I did not mix, and for it, lots of information that I needed to know that would probably have helped me. For example, when you're trying to solve a problem and you're struggling, I was too to myself. Instead of picking up the phone and calling my friends to say, okay, have you solved this problem? How did you solve it? I just stayed to myself. So that's a very big, I know that a lot of people make that mistake, but trust me, it is not the way. It's not going to help you. Okay. Now, you also need to study in the library. Now, it doesn't have to be in the library, okay? But studying in the library just opens so many opportunities for you, because firstly, you are in that environment, that academic, that studying environment, and then it just keeps motivating you. So even when you are not motivated, you see other people who are there, and of course when you keep going to the library consistently, you realize that there are people that consistently go there, and it just becomes part of you. It becomes a norm. It becomes your nature to go to the library. You get lots of information. You know what is required of you. You actually hear from your colleagues who has probably gotten feedback, you know, and then you get to form groups, study groups, and that is another very, very key point. You need to find people who you can study together with. That is one very good motivation, because those people become your accountability partners. You know, they become you, but every one of you are accountable for each other, and you begin to bounce idea back and forth each other. You know, you begin to learn from each other. So do not make the mistake of wanting to not go to the library. I'm not a library person. Trust me, it's not going to help you, because I did that for my BSc. But I tried to sit down and identify what the problems were, and I noticed that that was one of the problems. For my MSc, I was always sitting in the library. I stayed in the library. You know, I had this traveling box. You know, this is very small traveling. You know, the one you use for hand luggage, and that's where I had my books. You know, I would drag it from my hostel to the library to go and read. I found people that, you know, that would motivate me. Importantly, there was this person. He's a professor now. He motivated me, you know, the way he always studied. And then when I get to the library and I see him, I say, what is this person studying? Does this person have two heads? You know, this person does not, you know, and lots of other people that actually, apparently, it was seeing that person study like that. He applied for a PhD at the time. You know, we were just like halfway into our into our masters, and he had already gotten a PhD offer. And I thought, if this person can apply and get a PhD offer, why can't I? You know, and then I did it. Trust me, that was why I got my PhD offer before I even finished my masters. You know, so I actually find I ensure that I positioned myself appropriately in the right environment, which is very, very key. If you want to study, you are not motivated, pick up your bag, go to the library. Or maybe you have a study room where it is basically for studying. You know, some people who want to study and then they'll sit in the lounge and, you know, you grab a cup of tea. I'm not saying you don't get a cup of tea, but you get in it, grab the and then you relax. No, you have to be positioned properly. You need to be, the position has to be for studying. The environment has to encourage studying. And this is one very big mistake a lot of people do. You know, you are on your dining table and then you're sitting down and there's food, you keep going to the kitchen, you know, and then you get the TV is on, you have lots of distraction coming in. So what am I trying to say? Ensure that you position yourself appropriately. Always study in the library. Always study in the reading. Always study in the reading room. Form groups, the right groups. Now choose those groups wisely. Some people say, "Oh, these people are very clever. They're the very important, clever ones." You need to get close to them. You need to get close to them if you want to stay motivated. Now, another very good tip that I would like to share with you is distraction. You see, this in this age and time, the social media doesn't even help, because you're studying and you know your phone is doing pop pop pop. I look at this message quickly. You know, you look at the message and then you're distracted for another 20-30 minutes. That's not going to help you. You would, because by the time you keep going back to your phone, you realize that you haven't even achieved whatever you wanted to achieve. So the best thing is, when you want to study, if you're studying for maybe 2 hours, just switch off your phone, switch off your social media. I have a friend who when the semester starts, she just goes off Facebook, she goes off Instagram, everything, you know. And you see, it doesn't, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. This studying does not go on forever, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. It doesn't go on forever, it's just for a short time, you know. So pick, for you to study, you have to pay the price, and you know it comes with a lot of price, and that is It's either you want to study or you want to be on social media. You can't do both at the same time. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there's some times where you can actually give yourself a treat and say, I'll be on social media for maybe all day today. Treat yourself, but get off the social media, because it will not motivate you. Switch off your phone so that calls are not coming in, for at least for that 2 hours. You can take a break and switch off your phone to see if maybe there are important calls or things that are very important, and switch it back off and, go back to studying. You see, so another very, very, very key point is, you know, I remember, when I, at some point, I think about 2002, 2003, I was in a university, and I would sit down and nothing was even sinking. I just keep staring at the book and I didn't even understand it. And I had a friend, apparently that my friend, very, very brilliant. I'm sure he'll be shocked now. I haven't heard from him in so many years. And I know he'll be shocked that I'm a doctor, because he'll be like, I wasn't, well, I wouldn't say I was a dummy, but I wasn't really somebody that, I don't really know the right word to classify it, but I cried one day. He had taught me this specific topic, I think in chemistry or so. He had taught me for over and over again, and it wasn't just sinking. And then I cried like a baby, you know. But you see, over the years, I realized that sometimes we want to read, and we bring maybe a whole textbook, and we say we want to finish this textbook in 4 hours, or you want to finish this whole textbook in 2 hours, and you're just going to sit there for 4 hours. You're just wasting your time, and you're lying to yourself. Who is deceiving who? Stop deceiving yourself. Maybe if you get used to re-studying, just like I can study for hours. If all you need to do is just give me a cup of coffee or cup of tea, or and give me food, okay, I would eat because I need energy to study. I'm going to come to that. Just keep giving me the food, and then I'll just sit down there and enjoy. I'll even play music, and then I'm just, I'm cracking on. So what am I trying to say? Break them down into smaller chunks. Okay, have goals to say, okay, in an hour's time, I want to understand this paragraph. I want to understand. Now, don't let it be passive reading. And when I mean, don't just take in that information. Take the information in and then reflect. Now, reflect and see if you understand. Think about it in your own words. And one strategy I have actually used for people that have come close to me to say, okay, I'm not motivated, read that and try to get your family, your friend, and explain that thing to them. More of like you're trying to teach them. Now, you want to do the job of a teacher. Okay, do the job of reading that thing that you want to teach somebody, read it, and then teach the person so that that person can understand. You know what? It works like magic. The moment you do it the first time and you see that you understand it, you will automatically be motivated to go on and on. So break them into smaller chunks. Don't deceive yourself to say, oh, you want to grab this very big textbook and you want to finish it in 2 hours. It's not going to happen. Now, those smaller chunks that you do, and even the timing, don't start with 5 hours on a stretch. You can start with 30 minutes, then extend it, go to 45 minutes, go to an hour, and start extending it like that. You will enjoy it. And reading is very interesting, to be honest. Some people might be looking at me and say, oh, is this Bola talking? Yes, reading is very, especially when it becomes a routine and you're used to it. You don't see it as anything. For me, if I'm angry with my husband, I just go and grab my computer, and then that's what I do. Also, or maybe something is making me unhappy. That's what I do, because, and it's not that it became a hobby just like that. It's something that is gradual. I just picked it up over the years. So those smaller chunks that you do begins to add up. Now, I have also realized a lot of people procrastinate. You say, okay, I'll read today, and then you're distracted with something, and then you procrastinate and procrastinate and procrastinate. The problem is why you need to go to the root of why you are procrastinating. And I have realized that in some cases when people procrastinate is because they're not in the right state of mind. It's either they're not happy, or they have something bothering them, or maybe they're just overwhelmed. They're just overwhelmed with the loads of work. And some people automatically, they just write themselves all off and say they cannot do it. And that's really something that I really don't like to hear. To hear that, oh, I cannot study, I don't have the brain. Excuse me. If I can study, then anybody can study. If I can study, anybody can study. Anybody. We all have apparently, if I can be a doctor, anybody can be a doctor. Yes, because all it takes you to do is sit down and do the work. My brother used to say something, and that was something that he used to say, just do it, just do it. And for so many years, that thing used to ring in my head, just do it, just do it. So ask yourself, why are you procrastinating? What is that thing that is making you procrastinate? If you're worried, okay, say to yourself, I know I am worried, but this is not the time to worry. This is the time to study. You need to sit down and you need to think aloud. Think aloud actually works magic. It is a trick. Sometimes I am worried about something and it's bothering me. And when I'm studying, it's not just thinking, I really want to study. I just say, okay, it's not the time to worry. It's not the time. I just say it aloud and it goes. It goes. So think aloud and say it's not the time to worry. Or whatever it is that is making you procrastinate, try to identify that thing and you make up your mind. And it also comes to the fact that a lot of people don't even understand why they want to study. It is not by force to study. It is not by force. So if you really want to study, you need to ask yourself, what do I want to achieve from this studying? Do I want to become a better person? So if it's you wanting to become a better person, let that be the big picture and let that be a source of motivation for you to say that I want to get to this place. I want to be like this person. I aspire to be like this person. Let that motivate you. And if you're looking at it and you don't understand, if it's okay to cry, oh yes, tell me it is okay to cry. There are days where I would cry. Oh God. I would sit down and I'll cry. In fact, sometimes I'll listen to some emotional music, just to lift, and I would cry and pray to God. I remember there was a time in 2009, I used to pray to God. I used to say, God, this is not going into my head. It needs to sink into my head. So whatever it is, it's okay to cry, it's okay to laugh, it's okay to dance. During my master's, I remember I got used to so many songs. I would go to a quiet place within the university where I can increase the music. I used to use, I think, the mobile lab at the time. And I made a couple of videos from that mobile lab. I would sit in the mobile lab, increase the volume. And, after I've read for some time, I would dance and dance. And actually, that leads me to making your studying enjoyable. Make it enjoyable. Make fun out of it, It's not, because sometimes when people hear studying, they be like, hey, it looks like the world will come down. No, make your studying enjoyable. Enjoy it. Try to make it something that would be very interesting. So sometimes when I try to dance, play music while I'm doing my coursework, I'm doing my assessment, doing those things, play music, dance, and make fun. Or maybe convert into a game. Maybe when you have read, you can write a list of questions and do like sort of a game. Gamification is very good. Convert it to a game and you realize that you learned so much from it. And something I used to say to people, I say we listen to all this music, this secular music, and you listen to it once, you listen to it twice, and the next 3-4 times, the whole lyrics is in your head. So if the lyrics of that music is in your head, tell me why what you're reading would not be in your head. If you read it over and over again, if that music can stay, the lyrics of that music and the rhythm and everything can stay in your brain, then studying can stay in your brain. Okay. Now, one very, very key thing as well is memorizing. A lot of people memorize, and that's not very good. Memorizing would only stay in your short-term memory. It only stays there for a short while. Okay, so if you're somebody who tried to memorize, then you're not doing yourself any good, because you wouldn't be motivated. Because the moment it stays there for like 3-4 hours, or maybe 1 or 2 days at most, you forget, it would go. So you want to, when you're studying, you want to understand the concept. You want to understand that thing you're studying. So, and like I mentioned, the strategy is read it and sit down, reflect and think, do I understand? What does this thing mean? Even watch videos. Now, you can also look at what one person has said about that thing, listen or read what another person has said, and even videos, watching videos and listening to these videos on that same topic, because you can read, you can listen to audios, you can listen to videos on this same topic. Combine those things and then reflect and get somebody who you want to explain this thing to. Okay, so that's a good, I would not encourage you to memorize, because you're going to be wasting so much of your time by memorizing. Now I think I wrote another. Okay, yes, the other thing is, if you're in the university and maybe you've given a coursework or a deadline, the moment they give you the coursework, start that coursework on that day, or maybe give it a day or two. Start it immediately. Because I'll share one very big secret that I realized when I was doing my MSc. And of course, I'm a lecturer now. I know that it works. The moment you're giving an assessment, start it straight away and keep going back to the lecturer with, this is what I've done. Am I on the right path? You get feedback, and the feedback you get is just pointing you in the direction of where you're supposed to be. You end up doing what the lecturer wants you to do. And also, there is this thing that comes with you knowing that you understand something. You just want, you are automatic. The motivation just comes because you know that you understand it. You'll be so confident to say, I know this thing, I understand it. And that's because you have gone to the lecturer to get feedback. And how can you get feedback? Tell me, you have a deadline and you're going to the lecturer 2 days or a week before maybe a week is still okay. 4 or 5 days before, let's say 3 days to the deadline, and you're asking for feedback. You don't expect them. They also have their busy schedules. They wouldn't, the number of students they have. If they're going to answer everybody 3 days to them, how many people are they going to attend to? You might not get the best out of them. So the moment you get a coursework, the moment you get an assessment, or the moment you're being taught, go back to those slides and revise them. Don't pile them up. Do them in smaller bits. When you finish a lecture, give it a day or two. Go back to it. Look at the slide. Look at what other people did. They would share resources with you. Look at those resources that they have shared with you. And when the work is too much, you get overwhelmed, and then you are not motivated. It automatically kills your motivation, because you feel, how am I going to do this in a very short time? Okay, how am I going to do this in a very short time? So you don't want to be overwhelmed by too much work. So the moment the assessment is being given to you, start working on it straight away. Like I said, yes. The other thing is, you have to stay positive. Stay positive. Some people, even before they start studying, they have already given up on themselves and say, I can't do this thing. I don't even understand it. No. If it is taking it line by line, start taking it line by line. Take it one at a time. Because when you have positive energy, it just helps you to believe in yourself, to believe that you can do it. So It is very, very key. If you want to stay positive, I'm sorry, if you want to be motivated, you need to stay positive. If you're not positive, then you're already killing that passion that is supposed to come with the motivation. Know your limits. Sometimes you have some people that want to study for 5 hours. When you're tired, just don't deceive yourself. Leave the study room, leave the library, and take a break. And if you're hungry, you can't study, because studying actually, it uses a lot of energy. So grab some food, because if you're hungry and you're studying, nothing is going to sink in. Nothing, absolutely nothing. Nothing. Nothing is going to sink in. So grab food. If you're tired, have enough rest. For those that know me, when I'm tired, I don't deceive myself. I don't say, I sit down there and pretend like I'm reading. No, when I'm studying, I'm studying. And when I'm not studying, I'm off the computer. I want to watch my movie. I watch my movie straight away, because I'm not even going to deceive myself. Because you need to ask yourself, who are you deceiving? It's either you are deceiving yourself, or the book is deceiving you. Sorry. So it's either you're deceiving yourself, or the book is deceiving you. So get find yourself in the right community. Mix with people that actually study. Be in the right environment. Get people that you want to, accountability partners, people you can bounce idea back and forth from. Speak to them. You will just see that the motivation comes, and it is a gradual process. The moment you start 30 minutes, you start going to 1 hour, you go into 2 hours. It just gets better. It gets better and better over time. Somebody was saying to me that I need to start a reading club or something. Well, yes, I'm still thinking about it, because it's a lot of time, but hopefully I'll let you all know when. Maybe it's just an hour. I'll just come live and we can all study, just to motivate you, those people that want to be motivated to study. And finally, when you study and you see the results, you will be motivated. So one trick that I would try to share with you is, try as much as possible to study hard and get results for one. You see that it helps you go on to study for the other, and to study for the other, and to study for the other. Don't give up on yourself. I am an example. If I can study, I used to be that person that when it comes to study, I'm just like this, because I feel I can't do it. I'm always overwhelmed. But the truth is, those tiny little bits of goals you set for yourself, or reading 1 hour, reading 30 minutes, setting the goals, the tiny, I would read this topic or this paragraph, it just piles up, and you begin to get used to that habit. You get used to the habit, you would stay motivated, and you would achieve it. So yes, I have said it. If I can achieve it, then you can achieve it. If you think you are motivated now, I want you to give the video a thumbs up and share this. I know there are lots of people. I'm still going to do another episode. There are lots of people that really are not motivated. They want to study. They want to study to get to that place in their business. They want to get study to that, but they are not motivated. Share this with them. I want people to stay motivated. I want you to believe in yourself, have that positivity that you can get to where you want to. Leave your thoughts in the comments. What do you think? What do you think? What have you tried in the past? What has worked for you? Share those with me. I want to hear from you, and share this with your family. Share this on your pages. Share this on your Facebook pages, on your Instagram. Share it on your WhatsApp status. I want you to share this. Do that for me. I want to leave in the comments if you're going to share this. Share this so that those people who are still struggling and not motivated to study, they can pick one or two things they will find useful. And yes, thank you for joining me. If you have questions you want me to talk about, you want me to treat, if I'm not able to talk about it, of course, I'll get people to come and talk about it. And yes, the email is on the screen as usual. Do not forget to follow us on our social media pages. And thank you. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you next week. And this is Bola Adeyeye Omishade. Bye.